Welcome to SSI Meetup. Today we will be talking about the SSI ecosystem in South Korea, and we will have Jaehoon Shim, who's the CEO of HOPI and also the organizer of SSI Meetup Korea. And really happy to have Jaehoon participating in all this and pushing SSI in Korea. And let us quickly review in the second slide what SSI Meetup is about, and then Jaehoon will be jumping into the full presentation mode. So SSI Meetup, what we're trying to do is to empower global SSI communities, exactly as Jaehoon is doing in Korea. This is open to everyone. If you're an association, an individual, a company, we hope that you're trying to take advantage of SSI and try to push it around the world. And because of all this, we make all this material available with the Creative Commons by Share Alike license, which basically means this is open source and you can share it with other people in the world and reuse it, present it at your company, or do events or whatever you want. All this material is always available with the Google slide deck presentation that you can download, so you can reuse it. You can also rewatch the videos that is being recorded that will be uploaded to the very same landing page that you saw to register for this webinar. And yeah, and that's what we're trying to do. I'm really happy to show today how a very specific ecosystem like the Korean one is developing. As many of you know, the North American ecosystem, the European ecosystem, are like kind of the main activity areas in the SSI space, but Korea has been catching up a lot in the last 2 years, and there's a lot of things going on there, together with Australia and New Zealand too. And yeah, so I think that's really exciting to hear directly from one of the key members in the community to see what is happening over there. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to bring up your questions. I'll share them with Jaehoon. If not, we can tackle them at the end of the presentation. And yeah, and I think this will be very enlightening for everyone to see what is happening on the other side of the world, depending where you are. Jaehoon, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to SSI Meetup.
Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jaehoon Shim. I'm founder of HOPI, and I also work at LG CNS for blockchain expert, and I'm the main organizer of SSI Meetup Korea, which is like a spin-off of SSI Meetup that we're doing. And I am also the lead editor and in W3C DID and VC translation. And lastly, I'm the member of Nodor Foundation. I guess many of you are not familiar of, but it's a blockchain article journal. So today I want to talk about the SSI ecosystem in South Korea. And so as Alex introduced, SSI in South Korea has been moving so quickly, and in last few months, there are so many companies and consortia has been made, and so many projects has been initiated. And today I would like to introduce 3 basic pillars of SSI in South Korea. So today I want to talk about SSI communities in South Korea and SSI projects. And lastly, SSI enterprises. And I wish this session would give you insights and possible opportunities in the future so that we can like collaborate globally. So before we begin, there are 3 major cities that I want to emphasize. So the Seoul is the capital of South Korea, which all the main projects, main businesses going on. And then there is Busan, which is a blockchain special zone. So you can have as many as blockchain projects going on, and the regulations have been lowered. And then lastly, the Jeju is a Jeju island, as you can see. So they have really supportive governor, and they host many blockchain or SSI meetups. And SSI, as an organizer of SSI Meetup Korea, Jeju has been really supportive on hosting the meetups. So these 3 cities will appear a lot within this presentation. So I wish you guys are getting familiar with the geographics in South Korea. So the first one is SSI communities in South Korea, but honestly, there is only one community that I am aware of, which is SSIMeetup Korea. So SSIMeetup Korea is a spin-off of SSIMeetup. So we are sharing the same brand, but we are in a relationship with SSIMeetup, such as TED and TEDx. So SSIMeetup Korea is a nonprofit organization which focuses on sensing technical trends and bringing social value by researching practical application of SSI. So we have around 70 people joining in our Facebook group, and there are 12 researchers are actively participating. And we have multiple recognizable sponsors and partners, including ETRI, Electronics and Telecommunication Research Institute, and NIPA, National IT Industry Promotion Agency, and W3C South Korea office. So ETRI and NIPA are both national researching agencies, and they have been supporting our group. So since last December, we hosted 3 offline meetups. So the first 2 was held in Jeju Island. The province of Jeju and the governor are like highly blockchain supportive and enthusiastic. So we had a chance to spread out the SSI, introducing people what SSI is, how it can be applied in many government systems. And the last meetup, the third one, was held in National Assembly building, supported by a congressman who believes the self-sovereign identity is important. And so we had 3 offline meetups. We also work on translating the W3 documents, mainly DID core and VC data model specs. We are doing so because not many Koreans are familiar with English, and they cannot, there are some language barriers, even if they want to learn and participate in communities globally, they have language barriers. So we would like to lower those so that people would be able to learn easily, and all the government officials or enterprises, companies can understand the concept of SSI easily. So we are translating W3C documents, and W3C South Korea office sponsored us to accredit the translation so that the work can be considered as authorized W3C translation, which later can be used as a standard for building national DID or national verifiable credential standards. So all we do is we are trying our best to make SSI happen. So here are the poster and some pictures of the seminars that we've done. So this is the first seminar happened in Jeju Island. And this is the second seminar. So the second meetup was held for 6 hours, and there were 6 speakers, all members of SSIMeetup Korea. They have been prepared to provide what we have learned into communities. So the next one is the projects. The projects are in specifically the government-funded projects, and here I want to introduce 3 major government-funded projects that are, I think you guys are going to be highly interested in. So the first one is National ID by 2025. Ministry of the Interior and Safety announced the project that makes the government employee ID by 2020. So they explicitly mentions to follow WTC standards, and they mention all the DIDs, DID documents, verifiable credentials, verifiable presentations, selective disclosures and stuff. Also, so this might be the first national DID method to come. So they have some universal DID resolver to be implemented, and this might be the as I say, the first national DID method, and the government expect to reduce social cost worth $50 million US dollars, and so this is to improve ID authentication method. So by 2020, there are going to be a government employee ID. By 2021, there would be a project making disability cards. And then by 2022, there's going to be a project making a driver's license based on DID. And by 2025, the government wants to make all the IDs mobile, digital, and SSI based. In their request for the proposal, they mention self-sovereign identity, and they really want to provide everyone their own privacy, and they want to provide proper technologies to keep their own identities themselves. So this is the national ID, and there are 2 other projects making state mobile ID. So the Seoul, is the capital of South Korea, is they want to make a blockchain administration service, and they have a budget for blockchain projects worth 120 million US dollars, and the blockchain administration service is part of it. So it was posted like a week ago, and then the project includes DID based, SSI based ID or credential service. So they want to make the paperless online authentication service. The second one is the Digital Public Service Platform by Gyeongnam. That's it's like a Chicago in Illinois, so it's a Busan in Gyeongnam. So Busan is the key of blockchain projects, and they are planning to make a state mobile ID also. So within a few months, like last few months, there has been so many projects funded by government. They want to make their state mobile ID, they want to make national ID, all based on SSI, and it is really exciting for us to see how it's gonna like change our lives if all the national IDs goes into mobile, and what if there's a first national DID, the first official national DIDs, and how would it form? How would it look like, and how would it set the standards for the international DID schemes? So it's really exciting for us the past few weeks. And the third and the last founding pillars of the SSI ecosystem is consortia and companies. So we have three major consortia: Initial Alliance, DID Alliance, and MyID Alliance. So Initial Alliance is made up with telecommunications companies and banks. As you are all familiar with, Samsung Electronics is also a member of this group. SK Telecom is the lead, and they use their own solution named Stun Ledger, and I believe that is based on Hyperledger Indy. Their strong point is that they have already provided massive user bases service and the identification service in past few years. So it is really likely that the public identification service is going to be Initial Alliance reforming their legacy into using DID and SSI technologies. And the second one is the DID Alliance Korea. So DID Alliance Korea is started October of 2019, and they are a global consortium between Korea Digital Signature Forum and Korea FIDO Forum. So they aim for global authentication standardization and setting up local standards. The key company is Round Secure, and Round Secure is a security company. And there are other 46 members participating in the group. DID Alliance Korea have unique DID architecture called Gadi. There's a screenshot of architecture of Gadi. So if any of you are interested in, you can go to DID Alliance website and check out how Gadi is formed. So, and last winter, they have successfully launched the first public service for using DID technology, DID authentication. The last one is MyID Alliance. MyID Alliance is a digital ID ecosystem consortium led by IconLoop, the IconLoop, the public chain. The alliance is based on MyID platform, and their strong point is that numerous banks and financial institutes are involved. IconLoop's MyID platform has been designated as the innovative financial service, and they have reduced number of steps of creating bank accounts. And there are 41 businesses and institutes are involved within this alliance. So if you add up all three alliances, there are over 100 companies who are member of any one of alliances or initiatives. And that means there are over 100 companies that are interested in adapting SSI into their companies. So I think this could be a chance that other global solutions can also seek for opportunities to adopt their massive solutions into South Korea companies. And the next slide is about the Korean companies going international. All previous 3 alliances are formed within Korean companies, but there is a MyKeeping alliance led by Ethereum and CoinPlug. They are composed of international blockchain startups, blockchain companies from Vietnam, Singapore, South Korea. So it's an international initiative. And Ethereum has recently published their app, The Poll. It's a voting and surveying system based on Meta ID. And I personally think this voting platform is well made, and this could be a massive this could be the start of the massive adoption of DID and blockchain in public service. And Ethereum also did some project called R project. It's a project led by UN for Rohingya refugees who have no identification methods. And so they have successfully finished their proof of concept of our project. And this is some example of Korea DID companies going international. And another example of Korean companies going international is the case of LG CNS. So LG CNS is the IT support of LG entire group. And LG made a partnership with Evernym. So LG wants to develop self-sovereign identity solution with decent interoperability and globally. And LG CNS expects some technical advisor for doing so. And Evernym can guide through how it works. And Evernym can also expand their business in Korea with help of LG CNS by helping with localizations. So I expect these kinds of partnership opportunities are getting bigger, and I think these kind of partnerships can benefit in both sides. So there are a lot of companies who wants to adopt SSI, and they want to bring the digital transformation into their own companies. And I think this is the perfect timing for if you have any intentions of expanding your business in Korea or Asia even, this might be the perfect time to join and expand our business or expand our ecosystem within South Korea or Asia. Here are some methods from South Korea companies. DID methods registered in W3C. I wonder some of you might not know. So I just brought all of them together. So this is the end of my slide, and if you have any questions, please yeah, type it. Yeah. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Jaehoon. I have a question here from Steve, and I invite anyone who's listening to share their questions right now. So Steve, he's asking if you can share the link to the RFPs, that he would be really interested in reading them and see how they're framed. I think he means the RFPs for the government projects that you were talking about before.
Yeah. I can surely share the links for the RFPs for the national IDs, I believe. And then yeah, I just printed a copy today, and it's 110 pages written in Korean. I hope you have a good translator for that.
Yeah, great. Jaehoon, I mean, let's see if any questions come in, but just from my side, what I'm wondering about is like, I mean, and especially right now, like, I mean, Korea is like one of the main examples about how the COVID crisis is being managed, and I mean, like more or less being well managed by a government, together with Taiwan maybe, and Singapore. I think those are maybe the three main reference examples that are usually being shown. If we put this together with SSI, where I mean, at least in Western world, there's a lot of emphasis on privacy, and how do you guys see this fit together, and how do you see the local population seeing this? Because what I've seen personally so far in Asia in general is that if you take any country like Japan, Korea, or Japan or China, is that privacy is not very high on the agenda. But especially now with this COVID situation, yes, it's very useful to be able to trace all the data, but it's also pretty invasive. I mean, what is the local population thinking about this, or not thinking about eventually?
So in general, as you mentioned, the privacy is not the highest property that many South Koreans would expect to come. For example, just like a COVID breakout like a few days ago, the state government of Seoul, they detected like 1900 people who hasn't been responding back. So even if nowadays they don't seem to think that privacy is quite important, but if there's any government projects or enterprise projects who would give full privacy, that who wouldn't want it? I mean, like, so in general, people don't recognize them all. People don't recognize them much, but the technology is still evolving, and the companies and governments, they want to adopt the bleeding edge technology that is going on global. I think that's why governments and companies are so focused on SSI now.
Great. Just two questions that came in here. I mean, one is from Vishwas from India. He's saying, my startup is working in the same space in India. Are there any ventures who are supporting startups outside of South Korea?
So I believe I can give you some names of the ventures but I'm not fully sure. I haven't seen any cases. I've seen some cases going out of Korea, but I haven't seen any cases going in Korea. So I might provide you some names and links through chats.
Yeah, I mean, you have Jaehoon's contact details in the first slide where you have his Twitter and email, so you can reach out to him. I mean, oh, you have it in the slide that we're showing right now too, so you can reach out to him there. Okay, so we have a question here from Steve. He's saying, do you think there will be a pushback from the Korean public when SSI is in time implemented? There will be a high learning curve.
Yeah, definitely there is a high learning curve, and I have been working and studying with many coworkers, and we had a really hard time catching up up to this point, and still it is really hard for us to get people to understand what SSI is and why they need to change their authentication methods and why they need to keep their own private keys. And that is, I think that is the hardest task that we are facing. And but the government project is has been announced. They will finish at the end of 2020, and I would like to see how it goes. And I honestly think there will be a pushback because to get everything right, people need to save their own private keys. They need to have their own backup plan, and it is a drawback for people to adopt new technologies, right? Yes, I think there would be pushbacks, but I think that is something we need to solve, not just in South Korea, but if we think SSI needs to be adopted globally, that's one of the key things that we need to consider as we develop the concept of SSI.
Great. There's Kyung-hoon asking, how can I join SSIMeetup Korea?
Yeah, it's, there's a Facebook page, SSIMeetup Korea, or just shoot me an email and I'll send you the link.
Excellent. Alex is asking, hello, you talked about reducing social costs previously in one of your slides. Could you be more specific about it? Thanks for the clear presentation.
Yeah, so it was on the RFPs of national IDs. 1 second. So in the RFPs, it mentions that from 2014 to 2018, all the national IDs have been lost or damaged, where 10,000 IDs were damaged or missing. And if you consider the reissuing cost of $5, and that multiplies up to $50 million worth social cost. That's what it said in RFPs of national IDs.
Okay, and Catherine is asking, this is the last question, unless someone else has a question. Will language be an obstacle for international companies tapping into the Korean government projects?
Yes, definitely, definitely. As I said earlier, there are language barriers for Koreans to learn in English, and there's gonna be a communication problem, or there's gonna be localization problem. So if you want to tap into Korean government projects or Korean, even like any companies, then I would suggest you to reach out any one of the alliances or one of the startups, companies who can help you to localize your solution into whatever projects you are interested in South Korea.
Okay, great. There are no more questions. Just one more question from me. In the presentation you made about the consortia in Korea, I know some of the names because Metadium, the link to CoinPlug, I remember visiting them even in Seoul once, maybe, I don't know, I think maybe it was like almost 18 months ago. And there's also Icon, who's leading another alliance, one of the local alliances. So those are like at least two projects that are historically linked to the cryptocurrency space, which was really big in Korea. I don't know if it's still big today. I assume it's not that big anymore. And then you have like the more corporate kind of initiatives like SK Telecom and the other one, that you have for the DID Alliance. How did these different initiatives and alliances come together? Because I think the way I see Korea is that I've been there only twice, but from everything I've been seeing and hearing is that Korea usually is leading Asia in terms of testing and usage of new technologies, and whatever Korea adopts is kind of being adopted then by everyone else like Japan and China and everyone else in Southeast Asia. What are your thoughts in that regard?
So there are companies that would wish to lead the standardization and adaptation of the SSI in local and then going in global. So all their objectives are different, and all their targets are different, and all their strengths are different. So I would say there's a really big pie. Even like 3 or 4 consortia can share and have enough. So if you think of like national IDs, there's a national ID project. There are enterprise ID projects. There are state ID projects, and there are all other projects related to those projects. And I think the whole pie is quite big enough. So all the companies who are capable of learning or making their own solutions are jumping into this market. And honestly, blockchain in Korea hasn't been that, well, it was big like 2 or 3 years ago, but every other blockchain companies have been shut down or they're gone by now. But recent boom of like SSI is like coming back, and they are trying so many things, and so many exciting projects are going on. So I recommend you to keep following up on how businesses or projects are going in South Korea.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jaehoon. I think there are no other questions. Any final thoughts from your side that you would like to share?
Yeah. The main objective of today's presentation is to introduce how we are doing, how much we are excited, and how much we are expecting you to come in and join with us. There are plenty of rooms that you can join. The only barrier that comes between us is the language and I think there are a few companies who are willing to break or link you to all the cool opportunities that are happening in South Korea. So please keep your eye on what's going on in South Korea, and I really wish if South Korea could make the first national official ID based on DID, it'll be so cool. And I hope if it can get to W3C standards or not. But yeah, I'm currently so excited. I suggest all other Koreans to jump in and watch how it goes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jaehoon. I'm really happy that everyone had the opportunity to listen to you in this webinar to see what's going on in Korea, which I don't think everyone is as aware as they should be. And then, as you say, I think one of the key things is when countries like Korea put their eye on something, they really push it forward. So I hope we'll see a lot of exciting stuff. For everyone else, if you want to join future SSI meetups, the next one we have coming up May 20th is with the CTO from Freebox. He will be talking about the ceramic protocol, which is a new SSI protocol they have developed. On the 28th, we have a session with Sam Smith about decentralized key management, which I also encourage you very much to participate in. And as always, if you want to learn more about all these things happening, just sign up to the newsletter. You have the sign up form on our website, SSIMeetup.org, or you can use the different social media channels like Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Telegram. Telegram is usually a channel where we first share things when they come up. And Jaehoon, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone who joined us today, and see you soon.
Thank you everyone.